I'm not lacking. And so I wanted to kind of like use High Hopes as a blueprint on how to operate on a high frequency. You know what I mean? Like really like be proud of yourself and just, you know, be in a good space.
Hello and welcome to Where the Living Room Used to Be, a podcast about Rhode Island's music scene. Hey everyone, it's James. For this episode, I was able to catch up with Jon Hope to talk about his latest album, High Hopes. This came out earlier this year, and we have an in-depth track-by-track discussion about everything that went into the making of these songs, as well as the overall message he's looking to share with everyone. High Hopes, as well as Jon's other stellar albums, are available now wherever you stream music. Plus, you can get it on Bandcamp and directly through him at jonhopepvd.com. Please check these projects out, support him, and enjoy the episode.
A little bit before Hope All Is Well, which was released in 2021, I just had a mindset shift where I stopped sort of looking for external validation, stopped relying on stopped relying on blogs, DJs, certain websites for value. And and I shifted my focus on to people like yourself who support, who are engaged, who get it. You know, I didn't want to do any more convincing of my worth as an artist. You know what I mean? I developed such self-confidence in what I do that I was like, look, man, there are people who understand this, people who get it and they want it. You know what I mean? And so let me cater to them. And so it was really about building community, creating space. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like, when I think about I hate to talk about myself in third person, but when I think about the Jon Hope supporter, the Jon Hope enthusiast, I would say someone who wants to improve their quality of life. They're not really, we're sort of like outliers. We're not, our metrics of success are sort of, my family, being happy, being motivated. And so those are things that sort of like transcend trends and stuff like that. And so like understanding that, I wanted to live a little bit of life and I wanted to speak to themes that that were very personal, but I definitely was aware of how they would resonate. I mean, there's so many people. It's so funny. There's a couple guys that came up to me and were like, yo, man, you make dad rap. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
All right.
And I don't mind that, right? You know
yeah, there's a lot of dads out there. So
right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That in itself is one layer of it, so it's just about like I stopped caring about what other people think. I think there's, we're in an era right now, the streaming era, where there's a lot of vanity metrics. I mean, when you look at some of our, biggest artists who get played on the radio, yet they're canceling tours, right? They're not, they don't have like a solid fan base. And there's a lot of like faux success, you know what I'm saying? Where you got, 100,000 monthly listeners, but it doesn't really translate. Whereas for me, particularly with High Hopes, I had a little bit of a delayed or segmented release thing. And, I adopted it from Nipsey Hussle where, we allowed people to, get it directly off the website, it was like proud to pay campaign, and pay as you want, you know what I mean? And so when you think about, and it was never really about the money, but what it did tell me was there were some people who paid, $50, $75, $100 for the album in a climate like this, where inflation is the biggest opposition for so many.
Mm-hmm.
It was about what the music means and what place that music holds in that particular person's life. And that you can't quantify that. You can't, there's no stream, there's no Spotify, there's no title that can really match that. And so that's who I was speaking to, and that's who I continue to speak to. And I think my supporters, they understand, at least have some level of understanding of what you just shared was, I don't release a lot, but when I do, it's meaningful. And that in itself is a rarity these days, where music and the art has been severely cheapened. I think, people can appreciate somebody who takes time with a body of work and really considers, the beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah, like every piece of it. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I hear you. And what that kind of struck me as well as, hearing, those people that paid 50, 75, 100, which shout out to you if you're listening to this. You know who you are. That's incredible. But yeah, I mean, it's directly going to you to make more music. I mean, I hope, I don't know if that's what they were thinking, but it's like, if I give you this $50, it's for you to go do something, whether it's, go eat, go do something, or it's to get, a little bit more studio time or whatever else it is.
Exactly.
That's amazing. And, also, as you're talking about that, I guess what hit me with the dad rap piece is, I mean, for those that don't know, you are a dad. And just looking at your history, I mean, you are just such an authentic artist. And for you, I mean, maybe it wasn't something you're thinking about of like, I'm going to start doing this stuff, and not saying that you make dad rap, but you talk, I mean, the first song, and we can talk about High Hopes, talking about your daughter, so if you're just truly authentic, you're going to talk about what you love, what your life is. And if that's going to, if that's going to be about, being a parent, what that shift in view. I mean, I'm a father as well. I've got 3 kids, but yeah, I mean, stuff is different, like I just look at things a little bit differently, and, the amount of time I have or whatever else it is. So, I could see it that if you didn't do that and you were still kind of talking about things or just fabricating stuff as some people do, that's not who you are as an artist, and that's not why I appreciate you, so, but yeah, I mean, with regards to this new record, it came out almost like 3 years to the day after Hope All Is Well. Originally dropped March 3rd. Was Hope All Is Well, and this came out back then. And you brought back some people, so it seems like there's like a good connection. You got Rags the Artist, Israel Wusu, Caesars. Got some features on this. What went into some of that thought? Before we even get to the songs that are on here, but do you just have deep connections with those particular artists? Are you looking at this as a greater piece? Because not to belabor it, but like Hope All Is Well was a little bit different. Like, it did seem like that was kind of a transitional album. This is a continuation of that transition. Were you looking at it in that way, if you wanted to have some of those voices that were there, or are we like, nah, they're just good?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a little bit of both, man. Those artists I have great working chemistry with. Very organic. I mean, even a record like NIB, Nothing in Between. Israel Wusu, he demanded he get on the record. Like,
oh really?
Like that wasn't even the initial direction. Creative direction was just me and Marlon on the keys, and Israel Wusu is Marlon on the keys artist. Israel was just in the studio, and we were just kind of, I always liked that sample. And so we just played with it, and he was like, yo, I got to get on it. And so it was just, so there was some organic, natural collaborative aspects to it. But yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Like in terms of the extension from Hopewell as well. Yeah, there is a, you know, a shout out to Danny Got the Juice. I think the sound, the sonics, the Jon Hope sound is like this, like, you know, part inspirational, part street, but introspective. Like that's just kind of like this. That's the bag that I'm in. And you know, Danny, you know, particularly with this project with High Hopes, like he sort of was the, you know, the conductor for the entire project. And you know, I definitely say that he gives me my sound, my, you know, the Jon Hope sound. And so yeah, there is some relation to it. And then you, of course, you got Bongo, who did Bluest Moon 1, and then, you know, Bluest Moon 2, which is Paint the Moon. So yeah, it's just kind of, I guess in a sense, yeah, there is that continuation. It definitely was, that part wasn't intentional, but I do know that, you know, sonically, I realized that there's something, there was a lot of success that came with that Hopewell as well, Sonics. And so I will say I was mindful of it. I was mindful of that and making sure I didn't want to deviate too far.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Smart. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, with this, you know, like it seems like a lot of the concepts focused on leveling up, you know, shifting that perspective, you know, kind of recognizing internal power, which, you know, I just also want to shout out Cloud Bumbo, like his latest album, Make Way Roster, was like a lot of that, which is kind of like looking more inward and just seeing how much that can actually give you power, you know, instead of just always like projecting anger on other people and expecting them to change, you know. It was kind of, you know, and it seems that you had, you know, a focus on that as well, which was just really kind of cool to see that kind of connection. But taking a step back and looking at this album, like what was, the inspiration behind it? I mean, you're very involved with Hope Scholars, you know, you're like, did some of that stuff, you know, come together with this of like, you know, you're out there and teaching this, and this album is just another way of reaching people? Or
I think you know, off top, it was just where I was at. Like it was the first time in my catalog, in my creative life, where I was not creating from deficit. You know what I mean? I wasn't struggling. I wasn't, you know, I wasn't living the life that I was prior to, you know what I mean? And what I mean by that, like, I wasn't the struggling artist. Like I'm doing all right for myself, you know, and I was, and not just from a financial standpoint, but just like, you know, there was a lot of alignment, you know, mind, body, spirit. I was just in this space of like, you know what, generally speaking, there isn't anything wrong. And that is a very interesting place to be within the context of hip hop, which is historically known to be, you know, to rap about the struggle and, you know, the climb and whatnot. You know what I mean? That's the foundation. That's what resonates the most. And so for me, I was not there. And so when we talk about authenticity, it was a challenge trying to be authentic in that regard. You know what I mean? I didn't want to talk down to people. I didn't want to, you know, come across like I was better than, but I wanted for my listeners and new listeners who've grown up with me to see this view. You know what I mean? I was really like, you know, inspired by like, yo, okay, I'm here, I'm thriving, I'm not in survival mode. Like, I want to share this with everyone else. I want to share, you know, that's why, you know, hands on the clock, when you know, when I say I'm on a different type of time, I'm on a different type of time. Like I'm on something that's a little bit more, you know, on the incline, you know what I'm saying? And so that was the initial thing. Like, how do I creatively communicate this without seeming, you know, delusional or not connected? You know what I mean? I'm still a part of this. I still love hip hop and whatnot. It's just that I'm no longer rapping in the laundry room in Arbor Glen. Like I'm not, I don't really want for anything. You know what I mean? I'm I'm not I'm not lacking. And so I wanted to kind of like use High Hopes as a blueprint on how to operate on a high frequency. You know what I mean? Like really like be proud of yourself and just, be in a good space.
Yeah. No, I mean, you definitely hit on that. And there's a lot of, like lines that stand out as listening through this that, that drive that point home, But yeah, first track is NIB, Nothing in Between, had Israel Wusu on it. Yeah, the piano piece. Like, how important was it for you to start the album with that particular track? Was it like, no debate on that? Yeah.
Because like I said,
that's how it hit me. Is like, this is the first track,
Yeah. I think by now, when I think about some of my projects, Savage Beauty, Work in Progress, Hope All Is Well, and of course now High Hopes, that I've been very intentional about that first track, man. That first record, like making sure I grab the attention of the listener. And for me, there was something I wanted to convey. I really wanted to convey and set the tone. Like, this is an album that's mature. This album also is not Hope All Is Well. Like, you know what I mean? Hope All Is Well was very successful. And I think a lot of people were, at least in my conversations, people were maybe expecting that, expecting some remnants of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, I just wanted to set the tone off with, bars, not really, not a lot going on. It's just the chords, there's rhythmical drums, you know what I'm saying? And just kind of set the tone like, yo, this is what I'm on right now, like, and it was kind of like an ode to my daughter. Like, my daughter is getting older now. She's more cognizant of what's going on. And so I wanted her to know, like, yo, daddy loves you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. To whom it may concern, these are words preferred. May karma land at your doorstep, it's all deserved. This is Hope talking. Yeah, you cut me first. Rest in peace to the old me. I drove the hearse for my daddy girl. Daddy girl, daddy girl. I wrote this for my daddy girl. I had a world before you was born, but it was nothing to remember. But then came February 7th, a world of a difference, the birth of your existence. DNA test reveals that hope is the realest nigga breathing, touching, stepping, wisdom that'll last long. Just know that pain is a blessing with a mask on. 7 days a week, I'm here. I wanna make this clear. With open arms, I can catch those tears. I'm screaming from my soul, I'm proud. Jealousy is a sound. And to that woman, my silence.
Yeah, the next track is King's Code, featuring C's, and yeah, this is kind of like what we're talking about of, working to adjust the association on like what being tough and strong is and everything like that. And yeah, I mean, just a very positive message. The line that stuck out is, real currency is self-belief. And just, it just resonates, like if it's hard in the world that we live in, just because everything is probably even just in our capitalistic world of just like, if you try to get more of these things, like, physical stuff, whether it's more money, more whatever, that's what success is, or that's what the currency is. But like, I mean, the people that are at peace are the ones that are, if you like look at like Buddhism or anything else, they're like, give all that stuff away, and those are the ones that are just like, that's what like enlightenment is, and that's what all of these other things are. So but yeah, I'd love to hear you just kind of talk a little bit more about that particular one,
I mean, you hit it, man.
All right, cool.
I mean, it's that THX. I mean, that's that hope shit, like that, the internal work, the I wanted to, like you said, just readjust and recalibrate what it means to be real. I was just, I'm always, obviously I'm online, I'm scrolling, and what I see, especially working with youth, this concept of being real and being authentic is so misconstrued. It's really tied to a lot of self-defeating things instead instead of how many years you went to school, it's how many years I was in jail. I caught a body, or like your worth is, it's like being rooted in struggle. It makes you tough, and it's just like, nah, man, like, let's redirect that. Let's redirect that, and that's kind of where I was at, man. Just like redefining of what it means to be real and authentic, and I like the record, because of the sort of the dichotomy, if you will. It's a positive record, super positive, but it has an edge to it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like tea leaves and almond juice. You know what I'm saying? It's
yeah.
Right. It's like it has like a bop to it, that head nod, and I like that juxtaposition. I've always done well with that. Yeah.
How has some of that stuff been received by the people that you work with? Are people like responding to this stuff, or is it still like, is it a tough thing for you as you're going out there? Not that it's going to stop you or anything like that, but it's just like, is it, are you seeing some positive results from putting out these records and stuff?
Yeah, I am seeing positive results. I think more so because it's coming from a place of without judgment. You know what I mean? One, and then two, that juxtaposition, like like I wanted to really reach the street individual, and so I knew that I had to coax the message with a street sort of sonic, like, I mean, to be able, it's almost like putting sugar in the medicine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's hard hitting. You got that screw face, and you're like, well, hold up, man. But he's talking, he's talking like Talib Kweli, right? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Or like, so it I think that's the reason why it resonates, with people. You know what I mean? Especially from that, sect of the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not. I'm not coming in with candles and like, hey, man. Peace and whatnot. It's like, yo. Even when you think about like THS, like that's, it's not like, oh, hope. I'm saying, yo, this that hope shit, right?
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a little bit like the connotation has a little bit more edge to it. You know what I'm saying? And which allows it to reach the person who, you know what I mean? So someone on their street might say, hey, peace, and someone in the projects may be like, man, I'm on that peace shit. Like, they're saying the same thing, but it's just with a different connotation.
They want to show us like we live in foul, but be a parent to your inner child. Cause real currency is self-belief. Money, clout, fame, the biggest thief. But they will never steal my shine, king. The time is now, with a clock or a Breitling. But y'all don't hear me though. It told us, it prepared us, that the world was something dangerous. Never hear us, cause you fear us. So the love was never near us. But we came up, we were curious. This is real life, not the theaters. Where we come from, yeah, they label us. Listen closer, we the realest, we the realest.
Next track is Never Died. Awesome hook on this one. And for me, it kind of, I guess I wanted to ask you, I mean, is this about kind of staying in the moment, kind of being grounded, or I don't know, it seemed like you like kind of had this I don't know. It kind of hit me as that. Maybe it's just like some of my practice of stuff that I'm trying to get to, of like being a kernel of just, instead of like looking at all this stuff or like projecting into the future or whatever these things are. But
man, that's that. I never even thought about that. No, I mean, the way I wrote it was really about the shedding of old self.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, shedding of old self. Towards the end of the verse, when I talk about there was a light being, and it was when I looked, it was another me, and I ran towards it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I ran towards it, and I saw it was somebody who had drip way better, like, you know what I mean? It was just a higher version of myself. And and for me, the concept is like, if you're able to recognize that and attain that higher version of yourself, then figuratively, you never really die. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's kind of like, you're learning. You never really fail. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You're able to evolve and take the lessons from failure. You know what I'm saying? And so that was kind of the concept. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I would say, man, that was the record. That's the record that I think universally is the one that resonates the most. Whenever I talk to people, or they send me emails or whatever, I think Never Died. There's something about that record that just lands in a sweet spot for people.
Tell my tomorrows today, I live in my truth. Tell my tomorrows today, I live in my truth. Street dude who's a poet, raised by the rules. If you had it, don't show it. Talking about emotions, swimming with the sharks in the ocean, where the kindness can cause your commotion. Oh Lord, trauma sound like bullets from a gun, sirens from the cops, fatherless sons. Long live your brother who is living by the gun, who was murdered by the gun cause he didn't have a gun. My God, the city where I come from hard, deep tissue when the ego ain't massage. These are the cars, play 'em, ain't no complaining when the next destination is the stars. And I'ma land, real estate on the promised land, open doors to the soul of an honest man. A better one, you couldn't find a man. I woke up in the morning like I kinda can. On God, the bluest moon shine bright over me, alleyways of the trenches, and I saw a light beam. I didn't walk from it, but I ran to it, got a little closer, saw it was just another me. Stronger, drip way better. I let go of all that resentment. This a new level. I knew it once I heard the words hello. The pot gave daps to the kettle.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier, kind of bridging that connection from Hope All Is Well, but yeah, Paint the Moon, which is Bluest Moon 2, featuring Lisa Bello, who she's from Boston, right? Is that
Boston?
Yeah, nice. Yeah, could you talk a little bit about like this particular track and like what was the thought behind like continuing this in some way? I mean, obviously, Bluest Moon was killer hit,
right,
but like were you not finished with that in a sense, and be like, I can kind of say some more about this particular thing, or just kind of come from a different perspective on it, or
I think it was super organic. I had a different hook for it, and I was playing with these different voice recordings, voice notes, and then I just landed on Paint the Moon Blue. Like I didn't go into the record saying I need to make a Bluest Moon remix or part 2 or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I landed on, from a songwriter perspective, I landed on Paint the Moon Blue. And then it just hit me like, oh, Bongo did this record too. And so I was just like, yo, let's just play on it, because I think, and it was, this is where it's sort of like the, I don't know, the marketing aspect of it. You know what I mean? I knew how big Bluest Moon was on the last project. You know what I mean? And so there was an intention on bridging the two projects for the people that connected. Because again, it's been 3 years since. So in order to kind of regain that attention and keep people connected, I think from a optic standpoint, when you look at the track listing, Bluest Moon 2, like it kind of stands out, and it gives you a sense of comfort knowing that, okay, like, I know what he did on Bluest Moon 1. I saw the video, like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, and so in that regard, from a marketing standpoint, it was definitely intentional. But I think the concept though is slightly different. This was sort of like the magnum opus of the messaging of the album. Like this is the whole high hopes, operating on high frequency, shedding of the bullshit, like thriving. Like this is like the zenith or the apex of that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Man, I like the concept of the bluest moon, or paint the moon blue. Like, be intentional with your originality. Like, if you do anything, like, lead with your most authentic self. And it's funny, man. Like, I've had 2 school districts do whole curriculums on the concept of paint the moon blue.
Wow.
Yeah. So that to know that it resonates in that regard, man. Oh my gosh. I was so it's so gratifying. Again, it goes to that the point of, like, man, there's no stream that could quantify something like that.
No, that's amazing. Yeah.
So
like, what are they doing with that pieces? Like, can you kind of share a little bit more about what those school districts are doing? Because that's truly amazing.
Shout out to Lunenburg Middle High School in Lunenburg, Massachusetts, and then there's Millbury High School. Basically, they're doing art projects centered around, like, your life story, your authentic self. Like, so what would your bluest moon look like? You know what I mean? And so, students are given the assignment to kind of draw or paint or whatever their blue moon, concept.
Yeah.
And talk about it, and I'm assuming present in front of the class or whatever the case may be. But both school districts sent me the curriculum outline, and I was like, wow. And this was something that, like, I went to go speak at those schools, and it just resonated, man. And it's so dope, man. Like, some of these kids, man, they'll post and tag me, and and their captions say paint the moon blue. Like, that's like, oh my gosh, because now we're talking about mindset shifting, and lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? So it's dope.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, that's gets to even just why I'd ask that question. I mean, it's just that, these are the things that are connecting with people, and you can't, I don't know. That's like truly amazing, and just getting to the core of, like, I don't know, probably even going back when you started rapping, that you're like, you know what? I'm going to do a ton of work. I'm going to do a million shows. I'm going to do all this stuff, all the radio stuff. But then some kids are going to have just do curriculum around a song. Like, it's just like, it's like, what more can you, I don't know. That's amazing. Seriously. Congratulations on that. That is such a cool thing. And just love seeing that, and what this can do for folks. And it's just really cool to see these types of things come to fruition.
My actions speak, yeah, from the block to 7 seas, yeah. Can't believe that I bleed red. Paint the moon, I paint the moon blue.
On guard, the rivers don't die. This is God with the steering, so I don't drive. Look, no hands, but I touch lives. I went through it, so you won't cry. I feel eternal with my growth mind. I imagine how I live it, see with both eyes. Look, the vision lived in me the whole time. A sucker nigga bet you won't find. Survival mode is not a thing if I always bet on me. Got some skin up in this game, change complexion of beliefs. I'm scoring. Valet isn't giving you these keys. I forecast success for players. Just
the following tracks, Third Shift. This dropped a little while back, right? And this is a song that was dedicated to your mother, right? And just what it was kind of like, but yeah, I'd love to have you talk a little bit more about this. I mean, this one still destroys my speakers. So I forgot who the producer is on this one. But the bass on this is so phenomenal, but every time it comes on, I'm like, such a good track. I'm sure it's like, I am,
shout out to Danny, man. Yeah, man. I mean, it's just a song. It's a song dedicated to my mom. One of those, just kind of thinking about when I was growing up, like what the sacrifices that she had to make. It's well documented that I was in foster care for a little bit, and man, just I think when people judge certain situations, especially with troubled youth, the first thing they want to say is, well, where were the parents? And which implies that, you know, the parents are neglectful or whatever the case may be. And that wasn't the case with my mom. My mom was just working, you know, she worked a lot, so that's why she wasn't really around. So you know, I think for me the bright spot is that when I played it for her in the car, she was jamming to it. We, you know, there was a moment we were just riding around listening to it. And so yeah, man, you know, it's pretty straightforward.
Seen print hands turn into trigger fingers. So how can you judge if you can never live it? My music is life, was never for the critics. You on the outside in, we outside with it. $10 plates, conversations through a glass window. We don't do new faces, yeah, it was that simple. Word of mouth, travel fast, gotta take precautions. Who busted, got knocked, taking all the loss. Half brothers and sisters fighting over scraps. The cousin of death is real, they dying over naps. They dying over raps. Shit is getting overboard, clout chasers on their knees. They pray the world stars. We on to bigger, better, different levels. And if you disagree, you can catch the fade, no bevel. Jumped off the porch, felt like I jumped off a cliff. Can't blame my mother, she was gone working third shift.
Yeah, on my way to school, I'm walking on a tightrope. Angel in my heart, but the devil's so close. Eyes wide open when they asked me, seen nothing. Yeah. I was just a youngin' selling drugs with ass up. Wish a nigga would when he said he don't want. Mama making sure that I would never go broke, working third shift.
Yeah, Hands on the Clock featuring Jay Stone kind of touched on this, but you know, just curious what, you know, being timeless means to you. And you know, a lot of this stuff on this album does have that through line of time. Yeah. It has the line that, you know, I did congratulate you when the album came out, but you know, it says you don't need congratulations, you know, or validation. Yeah. You know, but yeah, anyway, can you just talk a little bit more about, like what the concept of time, you know, is to you now, you know? Yeah,
I think for me, it's about, you know, I say I'm on the 4th floor, right? I'm in my 40s, you know what I'm saying? And so part of what I was thinking about was just sort of the notion, and this is kind of like before Nas came out with the King's Disease trilogy and all that stuff. You know, I was really concerned or trying to attempt to like dispel this notion that like you can't age gracefully in hip hop, you know what I mean, as an artist.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I was really hung up on that for a little bit. Like there was a part of me that was just like, man, you know, like, you know, I want to make timeless music that resonates with all walks of life, no matter what the age demographic is. So that was kind of like the motivation behind how I look at time. I'm talking about time within a hip hop context. You know, I don't, because it's one thing for like mainstream artists to continue, but I think there's an element or you know, of uncertainty for the independent older artists. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The independent older artists, can you still create at a high level? What does it look like? And I just made the decision that, you know, I'm going to be here for a long time, you know, Lord willing.
I break bread, ribs, $100 bills, hands on the clock, say I'm on a different type of time, yeah, type of time, yeah. I break bread, ribs, $100 bills, hands on the clock, say I'm on a different type of time, yeah, type of time, yeah.
Record companies told me I couldn't cut it. Can't ignore the pain because I'm from it. I done it, and really to be 100, 2020 was the year that myself I finally discovered. Oh, never needed validation, hated congratulations. Me and my niggas touching money like salutations. For my daughter's sake, a different mindset. We buying stocks instead of birthday cake. We appreciate, not depreciate. My niggas need escape. Hope my money make you deviate. Interstate switching lanes. My mother's tears is a different pain. To make her smile makes the richest lane.
And yeah, I mean, the next track is Just a Piece, kind of touches on that as well. I mean, you have the line like true luxury is time, you know, and I know for me that, again, it was just something that just stuck out of, I mean, it's really like the only non-renewable resource is time, you know? So,
Yeah.
Kind of keeping that stuff in perspective. But, I wanted to ask you because on Instagram you wrote about this, music. This is, music for the ones that want to heal. Could you talk just a little bit more about that and how that kind of relates to this particular record?
Yeah, man. I was doing a lot of internal work, and in doing so, I was entering these new territories, and new territories of peace and stillness. And because I grew up with so much trauma, so much normalized trauma, I felt uncomfortable in peace. You know what I mean?
Okay.
At least initially. And then as I was continuing on my healing journey, I realized that, even I realized how much of an advantage, like my daughter. So I wrote it in 2020 at the height of the pandemic, and I wrote it while my daughter was sleeping. I was just watching her, and that level of peace, I was so envious, because I know that as she gets older and socializes, that innocence is can be lost.
Yeah, it wears away in a sense. Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of you lose yourself, because just the way you socialize, there's so many things pulling you in different directions. And so just to have just a piece of that, was kind of where I was going with. And so, and I think it resonates the most with people who are doing that kind of internal work, who want to be better, who want to evolve, who want to grow. And I've seen evidence of it. You know what I mean? I would say probably, Never Die, Just a Piece, and Paint the Moon are like the top 3 records. And just, from a sonic standpoint, it just has a good vibration. It's like a summer West Coast vibe to it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Just a piece of peace. Just a piece of peace. Is it real or is it fake? They steal and they take a piece of my mind. True luxury is time. I'm divine in my presence. Each bar is a lesson. Enemies and the exes, to them evil is precious. What's the cost when it lessens self-esteem? But causes depression and it seems like it's all a bad dream. I woke up in it, I don't feed. And if I chose violence, that just means that I chose me. Don't be jaded, I'm so great, it's just a matter of time. I know the clock gon' say it. When it's real love that touch souls, most gon' hate it. I never did the trends, y'all. Inspired by the Nips and the Crenshaws. Breath of fresh air, not a menthol. So what does that tell y'all? That the real will prevail. The slightest piece of peace make a nigga exhale. Now breathe. Not a whole lot, but a little more. Not a little less. I want it all. Let the past go. Hold my left heart. Let my soul rest. From the wall.
Well, I don't know. I mean, next track, HND featuring Tony T.
Yeah.
I don't know. That one's got a vibe.
That's the one.
I'm surprised. I mean, I know that the other ones have a lot of meaning to them, and I'm glad that those, but HND, man, it's got that summer vibe. I know you very smart behind dropping this, early and having it for that. And I've been going to a lot of Rhode Island FC games. I'm like fully on board with the new soccer club that's here in Blackstone Valley, and Dell's is sponsors them. And so as I'm listening to the song, I'm like, man, they need to get HND, even just like a clip, like played in the stadium, just, like I'm sure that their sponsor, Dell's Lemonade, would love to have just, the 10-second, clip, of the chorus just played in there, of the hook, but yeah, just, such a chill and like just a soulful track. I mean, you did the PVD World Music performance in Roger Williams Park last year, and this was one of the tracks that it was fun. Everyone that was in attendance, I mean, just wanted to hear it again. And but yeah, what brought about this track? You know, like what were you hearing? What were you thinking? I mean, what were you drinking? Were you drinking? Were you
Yeah, I wasn't even drinking no Henny or anything like that. But I will say, in terms of, I mean, I think the theme of this conversation is intentionality. I was very intentional in making this the first look of High Hopes, like because I knew how I don't know if dense is the word. I knew the seriousness.
Yeah.
There was a lot of seriousness with the other songs, whereas this was like, and I don't think anybody's really heard me in this sense. It was just a different look. It was a different look, but it was so it's so infectious, and it's probably I think H&D and Bluest Moon are probably like only. Oh, and Eat are probably like the only 3 songs that like it doesn't take long to connect. Like it's an instant, like soon as the chorus comes, you get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a long-winded type of it hits automatically and whatnot. And so to have one of those records and to come out with a record like that, man, I just when I perform that live, when I see people, when I play it, man, it's infectious, man. And so Tony T, she delivered, man. You know, she's like an MVP on the whole album. And you know, I wrote the record. I had the melody prior to the actual beat, and I gave Danny the melody, and he knocked it out the park, man. Yeah.
Keys in the car, not really sneezing, but God bless. Haters, they getting exhaust. They thinking they dream was so far-fetched. My niggas, we peas in the pod. We running the streets and we hard press. Impossible something we digest. Impossible something we digest. Whether sunshine or the moon spark, it's a vibe lit. Got no wings, watching time fly, this is timeless. Lipstick, blowing loud smoke, something harmless. You approach me looking so fly, something braless.
Laundry Room Flows, you know, hearing you talk tonight kind of explains some of that. You know, you just kind of mentioned of kind of going back to, you know, rapping in the laundry room. But you know, there's a sample at the beginning of this of just, you know, I don't know, for me, I mean, I've known you for a while now through our interviews and stuff, but like, I don't know. I think of you much more than a rapper, you know, like I think of you probably first, I mean, even though we're doing a music podcast, but yeah, I mean, educator, entrepreneur with your clothing line and everything you're doing with Zane, and, you know, actor. I mean, you did a Super Bowl ad. So acting and you're beloved with PC basketball fans, as so everyone knows you with that. But yeah, I mean, you're just such a well-rounded and talented person that, you know, like having the sample of just you know, being thought of as just a rapper, you know. So yeah, what is that like kind of connection, or like how do you even like view yourself? Do you see yourself as a broader view, or like how does that kind of connect back to you know, coming up, starting, or like what's to me is the theory behind the song title is, you know, starting rapping in laundry rooms, you know?
I think so, and I appreciate those words. I think I see myself as more, especially now where I'm at in life, in my career. I see myself as, you know, just a creative entrepreneur, but definitely the music is the catalyst, right? You don't get any of the things that I do without, you know, the music, you know what I'm saying? But with that being said, you know, it just, there is a stigma or a connotation with telling people that I'm a rapper, you know. Yeah, I just felt like I wanted to just like kind of confront that. I have no problem, especially now, you know, I have no problem telling people, like, you know, when people say, you know, obviously I do more, but like I don't have any problem telling people that I'm a rapper. And I watched this documentary called Adult Rappers. You should check it out if you ever have time. It's on YouTube, and it scared me to death.
Really?
Because it's a documentary that follows older rappers and their struggle or plight with trying to be viable and still, you know, have their creative pursuits. And it was a very reality based thing, you know what I mean? And that made me, and that the spirit of that documentary is what motivates people when you tell them, oh, I'm a rapper, and they give you like the side eye, or they don't really take it seriously, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, like, you know, I wanted to just kind of like confront that and say, yeah, I rap, you know, and I do it well, and I'm not a struggling artist, like, you know what I mean? It was more of a confronting that sentiment that, like, you know, there's no viability in being a rapper, you know, or an independent rapper, right? Like, I think that's it. That's what it is. Yeah, like I'm a working artist, and there are so many people, my family included, that don't understand that concept of they think that if I'm not Jay-Z, or if I'm not on these traditional mediums, then I'm not doing well. You know what I'm saying? And so because of that, I think that's why a lot of people, artists, will lead with something that's more palatable, you know, in terms of what they do. You get what I'm saying? They might lead with, oh, I'm an educator. You know what I mean? And which is fine, but like I'm leading with, I'm a rapper. You know what I mean? And so that's what it was. It was just confronting that spirit.
Yeah. No, and that's good. And that's good to have that, again, that confidence. I mean, you just reminded me of just more times that I'd like to admit of just being at like family gatherings. People just being like, hey, you still doing that music thing? I was like, yeah, I am. Just, you know, like, I'm the reason you haven't seen me is because I'm doing that music thing and I'm on tour, you know, whatever else it is. Like,
exactly.
No? And the reason I'm a horrible family member is because I'm just like, but anyway, it's just, it's hard for people to get that. And I mean, it just seems kind of the world that we live in that, you know, if I say like, well, I did this show, I just opened for, you know, so-and-so at House of Blues. And they're like, oh, so you're like actually doing this. I'm like, yeah, I've always been actually doing this, you know? It's like, it's not like, it's not a valid thing if you're, doing this in a different way, but, no, that's cool. And yeah, I mean, thanks for all you do. Again, it's just rad, and it's just super, I don't know. It's great to have someone like you here in our scene, and just how multifaceted you are, and just how important you are.
Allow me to reintroduce, it's never awkward. The same block, I'm doubling back to get my portion. When money talks, it's never a game, you people forfeit. All I know is turn 1 to 2 and 2 to 4s. And oh, my math is math and no overreaction. I'm winning time cold, but hope summer be blackened. Dream in color, we did hustle, so we ain't wonder where the next bread and meal will come from. That's that hunger. If you know, you know. Trenches taught me a lesson, nigga. No, I won't fall, fail, or flop, nigga. I won't stop, nigga. I don't need a reason why my dog on top, nigga. Apply pressure. Yeah, my gangster's gorgeous. Manicure the trigger finger, we perfume the torture. The streets is pretty ugly. I feel so comfy. My ego gets massaged. You say my words, they touch me. This, that, THS. We ain't stressed. Gangsters move in silence, nigga. We say less. The block 500 degrees. Is he real indeed? I got dry valet. Couldn't give these keys. So pay attention. Debit or credit each mention. The school of hard knocks, your detention. Too much class, I never fail. All aboard this train of thought, never derailed. Is it coffins or a jail? Please, not for me. Rather swallow my pride than sip that cup of tea. Live a life of luxury. And I ain't talking money, but something a little more. Joe Crack said today's price is not the day before.
Yeah, the final track, High Hopes, again featuring Tony T. Just a great outro track. Again, my assumption is that this was a very thought through thing of like wanting to kind of bookend this and having that be the way that you want to take this out. But yeah, what would you like to say about this particular
man?
Particular
that it just like you said, bookend. It encapsulates everything that I was saying from song one. I wrote the record, gave it to Tony T, and she just knocked it out the park. Like she just, it was one of those, we were debating actually whether or not we should put it as the intro, but I think it lives right where it needs to be. Sort of like, this is what High Hopes is. And then, obviously I put out the video, and the video kind of took a different meaning. It was definitely honoring a dear friend of mine, who's like a family member who passed. His name is JR. And he died right when I was getting ready to put this whole thing to kick off the rollout in the campaign. And so it was when I put out that video, it was just me letting him know he was such a big fan of mine too. Like he's one of the few that when I was starting out, that gave me the encouragement when no one else did. You know what I'm saying? Like he saw it, he got it right away. And when you look at the video, that's him speaking, I just wanted to let him know that, I'm still gonna continue to, do this, go down this path. But now I'm gonna honor him. So, it was, I'm really proud of the video. Hope is in the video. My daughter's in the video for the first time. And it was just like, it's just a good way to kind of close the album. And I've had people say they've cried, they've gotten emotional, you know what I mean? They really connect to it. So yeah, I'm proud of that record.
Yeah, I mean, with that, like, was there a particular audience that you were speaking to with that? I mean, you just mentioned several people, like several different people, but what were you thinking? I've got high hopes for you, X, or was it just like the listener, like as you're listening to this, that it's more of a general, like you as a person that's listening to this album, I've got, I hope for you. Like now that you've listened to this, hopefully you're going to take some action. Because again, what is just beautiful about this is that this is, real tangible stuff, like things that, I mean, it's like, it's, it's simple, but it's not easy. It's like to get that inner peace, it's, being other centered and stuff like that. It's not that complex, but it's like, it's difficult with everything that's there. So anyway, I just was curious if there was like,
I think it's all of the above.
Yeah, nice.
The listener, I think, but what it does do is by the time you get to that record, the idea is that you have a full understanding. Like if you didn't get anything else, point blank directly, I have high hopes for you. Like that's like this is where I'm at, and I have high hopes for you that you'll get to where you'll see this view. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of all of the above, man. It's I wanted to be very, very intentional about the idea of positivity. You know what I mean? Like this is like I'm unabashed about it. You know what I'm saying? Whereas, if everyone else is on demon time, this is angel time. If everyone else is drilling and shooting and this, that in their records, well, nah, this is what I'm on. You know what I mean? This is kind of the personification of that. Like this is like the end cap.
Yeah. Well, I've said it to you personally. I've said it many times that the release show for Hope All Is Well that you did at the Met was still one of the best, and by far one of the best hip hop shows I've ever seen. And I've been to a lot, and I mean that so sincerely. completely blown away by that. So I just wanted to bring that up. I mean, I know you've done some shows here and there. You did the Juneteenth performance earlier this year, but what else do you have planned? And do you have anything else going around with this particular release, or anything else that you want to kind of shout out so people can get in the room? Because again, it's every time I've seen you, it's been phenomenal. But just really that show at the Met was really, I mean, you talk about level, but I mean that show was like next level stuff. You just every single piece of it was just on point. So
thank you. Still gonna promote the album. So this is, we're about to enter the second phase of promoting the album. So what that looks like is a video. I won't say just yet, but
there you go.
But yeah, we're gonna, there's gonna be more visuals coming. There is a show. There is a show coming. Yeah, there is a High Hope show. And I'm looking to do it because of the Sonics. I'm looking to do a more of a tiny desk, intimate.
That's cool.
Type vibe. Yeah, man. This is gonna be for like those who like. It's us. You know what I mean? Like it's like intimate. It's the guys, the women who understand, who've been rocking with me. Like it's really that live band and everything. So that's coming.
Love it.
More acting opportunities, but yeah, still working the album. If we're talking about the music, and then even some new music. Some new music. Like
cool.
It's not stopping, man.
Yeah. No, phenomenal. Yeah. Is there any other stuff you want to shout out? I mean, you kind of just teased it, like what else are you working on? Like you want to talk about your clothing, want to talk about acting, anything else you want to promote here?
I mean, I just dropped the Comfort of Hope campaign, which is just a bubble logo t-shirt, really dope. And proceeds from that go towards Hope Scholars Initiative, which is support youth empowerment through hip hop. I think what else we got? I think the acting thing is gonna surprise a lot of people. Like I have really? Some opportunities that are opening up.
Cool.
Some commercials that I'm gonna be in. I think I have
Times Square, right, as well.
Yeah. There's one. I'm in Times Square. I was in a film in Times Square called Chorus. That was dope. I'm in Penn Station and Madison Square Garden. And I have a little mini documentary coming out about that. About
cool.
Being in Times Square and Madison Square Garden at the same time. What else? Yeah, man. I think that's pretty much about it, man. You know what I'm saying? And if anyone wants to continue to support, man, you got two ways. You can go on your streaming services and listen to the album, or you could buy the album directly off my website, jonhopepvd.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Jon Hope.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this. Again, huge fan. I appreciate you taking the time, and it was so great learning more about this album. Again, it's definitely all of your music has always struck a chord, but this has been really cool to get a little bit of a deeper understanding of what went into the making of it and what you were thinking as you were doing that. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
I got high hopes for you. High hopes. Yes, I do. High hopes. Yes, I do. I got high hopes for you. Yes, I believe in you. Yeah. I got high hopes for you. I do. I got high.